That, oh, what a chore to watch that was. That was, oh. Listen, I love watching Burnley. Like, regardless of how we play, I personally don't even think we play particularly ugly football. I don't think we play unattractive football. And I don't really understand where the unattractive football side of Burnley comes with with the reasons people hate Burnley. Right? I don't get it. And I will always enjoy a Burnley game because I'm a Burnley fan and I enjoy watching my team play week in week out regardless. But Christ above, today was such a waste of my time. And I don't say that lightly. It was a waste of my time. There's just no question about it. I could have done so many more interesting things. Forget that. Okay, I could have watched any other game today, and it would have been better. It would have been more enjoyable for me. And it's embarrassing that we went out like we did there. And I know we're not relegated, but we finished 17th with our lowest points tally that we've ever had in the Premier League without going down. 39 points is 1 point less than our best, than our worst rather, while still staying up. Oh, we're going down next season, aren't we? We're just going down. I can't. I think the one thing I will say from today is that it was never ever a lack of effort. It was just a lack of quality, and I really do think that sums up the game. It wasn't a lack of effort; it was just a lack of quality. And I think perhaps sometimes our the fact that we did put quite a bit of effort in today, and I say quite a bit of effort. It wasn't elite effort. It wasn't what you want to see, but it was more effort than I have been seeing throughout the majority of this season. I think that over excessive effort probably marred the performance because we all just wanted to do things and since we wanted to just get things done and just push everything. I think a lot of the potential passes, the potential crosses, the potential sort of defensive qualities that we otherwise would have brought. I just think that's really brought it down, and I feel like a lot of the time it was either an overpass or an underpass. The pass was never quite on. Dribbles, a lot of the time we didn't dribble very well. They just ended up coming to us and taking the ball off us, and it was just I can't actually be bothered to do this video. I'll put it out there, honest, because I've got no idea what I'm gonna say. To be honest, this video is not going to be long, because there's nothing to say about today. They were all poor. It's just they were poor. So yeah, we'll just get on with the individual player ratings. Obviously Nick Pope's out with a minor knee surgery coming up, so he's probably not even going to get into the Euros. That was the one thing I was clinging on to after this season, is that one of our players was at least going to be playing for England. Not even that. Not even that. It's infuriating. How has Pope done this? Listen, I'm not putting it on Pope. It's not Pope's fault. Obviously, you can't help being injured. But it's just disappointing. Anyway, it's not about Nick Pope today. It was about Will Norris. Will Norris, I'm being deadly serious right now. He can't play for us ever again because he's just pointless. Like, Sheffield had, I think, like maybe 3 shots on goal today. 2 of them were right at him, so he could just get them. One of them that were right at him, he fumbled. And the goal, it just felt so easy. Like, the ball bounced before it reached the goal. It wasn't a powerful shot. And I felt Will Norris was just really sort of wooden for that goal. I felt like he didn't move very far when he was diving for it. His positioning was fine in the first place, but it was more about the dive and the movement to the ball. He just felt so pointless. I don't want to see him play for us again. I would, and I was thinking before this game, I thought if Pope doesn't start, I want to see Bailey Peacock Farrell start, because yes, Bailey's not shown that he's a good keeper at all to us, but he's young. At least he's got something to gain from playing. Will Norris has nothing to gain from playing. What does he have to gain from playing? Literally nothing other than a clean sheet bonus, which he's never ever going to get because he can't prevent a goal from going in. Maybe I'm being unfair to him, but I just thought today he just didn't look confident. He's never looked confident. Even when the ball was back at him, he never really took the time to compose himself. It was just, the ball's at my feet. I'm not even going to waste a second. I'm just going to boot it up. And it never got to anyone. It was usually just like very deep in their defensive third. Therefore, they just picked up the ball rather easily. Yeah, I'm going to stop talking about Will Norris because I don't want to talk about him. I want to. Here's my thing, right? If Nick Pope leaves, we are done. We're done next season. There's no question about it, because there is not a single goalkeeper at this club who can perform at a high level other than Nick Pope. And even Nick Pope's not been excellent this year. He's not been Nick Pope level. He's been a good Premier League goalkeeper. He's been serviceable, but he's not been elite by any stretch of the imagination. Not how we know he can be. So what are we saying for this next one? Matt Loughton. Oh, Christ above. It's not even funny. I don't remember Matt Loughton doing a single thing today other than booting the ball up and hoping it lands on one of the strikers' heads. What was it? I could say the same for the majority of players, really. Yeah, Matt Loughton was just a bit pointless, I found. They were always very wide on our right, on their left, in terms of attacking. They always had so much room, so I think that's probably down to Loughton. I found Tarks had to come out of position quite often and fill up the right back role. As I say, I just didn't think he did anything at all, and probably it just ended up hindering our team. Attacking wise, offensively, I should say, I didn't really see much of him other than maybe a couple crosses. It's pointless, isn't it? Centre backs, Tarks took on the captain role today. He's a leader. He is a bit of a leader, but I don't think he's. I'm not sure he can quite fill the Ben Mee boots, and I think that's probably primarily down to the fact that James Tarkowski is just vice captain and Ben Mee is captain. It's just what it is, isn't it? But you know, maybe that's why the defence was a bit off today, because it just wasn't being managed. But maybe that's Will Norris's fault, because you would think that the goalkeeper has the full knowledge of the front in front of him, can manage his defence. Well, Christ, but I can't be arsed. Jimmy Dunn came in ahead of Ben Mee. I don't know what the problem with Ben Mee is. I'm not sure why he was left out of the squad today. I didn't see anything on Twitter. Didn't see anything at all. So I'm hoping Ben Mee's fine. I mean, what now? What now if Ben Mee's out? Christ above, we might as well just give up. Yeah, Jimmy Dunn was fine today, to be fair. What is he, 23, 24? He was fine. Didn't really put much of a foot wrong. Won plenty of headers, which was nice to see. Defensively, with his defensive awareness, I think he's still lacking in that sort of sense. A lot of things were happening that I don't think he quite knew were happening. But on the ball today, he looked good. He looked pretty confident passing and keeping hold of it. There was just a couple times where he messed up ever so slightly, but I'm not all too bothered because he's still got a lot of room for growth, and he's not a bad centre back. Don't get it twisted. He's not a bad centre back. And even offensively, he won quite a few headers in their area. Didn't really amount to much, but no, I think he was fine. I thought he was fine, and probably one of our better players. In fact, no, he was one of our better players. Charlie Taylor won a lot of headers today. They never really went anywhere. Defensively, I should clarify. Defensively, won a lot of headers today, and I think kept McGoldrick really quiet when the ball was coming into the box. Obviously, McGoldrick ended up scoring the goal, which again I thought was just a lack of organisation. That doesn't go in if we're organised, because he's left. He must have about 3 meters of space right in front of him with no defenders there to block it. I don't know what on earth that's about. That's not even our literal only game is blocking. That's our main thing, and we couldn't. It's baffling to me. It's baffling. Our organisation this season has been terrible. I don't get what the problem's been. Anyways, Charlie Taylor I'm talking about. Yeah, offensively he was pretty good. Got quite a few crosses into the box and worked well with the left hand side of the midfield. I thought he was probably our best left-sided player, but still not amazing. Not underwhelming, not overwhelming. He was just there. But you don't want that, do you? You want at least someone to take on the game. Dwight McNeil obviously came off at about the 60th minute. He had a fine first half, I found. I didn't think it was fair to bring him off, to be totally honest. Especially not for Jay Rodriguez. Jay Rodriguez, I will talk about Jay Rodriguez, and believe me, I'll be slating him once more. I don't hate him. I just have a lot of problems with him. I thought Dwight McNeil was fine. I didn't think he deserved to be taken off. There were a couple dribbles forward that he just wasn't quite fully in control of the ball. His crosses weren't Dwight McNeil-esque. But I thought he looked confident. I thought, especially outside of the area in that sort of advanced midfield role, I thought he looked pretty good. I didn't think he had much of a problem. So yeah, I did think it was unfair to bring him off, but I don't know, maybe it's a fitness thing, or maybe Dice just wanted to bring on Jay Rodriguez for some reason. Midfield, Ashley Westwood. What did he really do? Oh, I don't know. I've got no idea what Ashley Westwood did. I just don't know what Ashley Westwood did. That's embarrassing, isn't it? Yeah, I'm just going to have to leave it there, because I actually genuinely cannot think of anything Ashley Westwood did today. Jack Cork. This is my problem right now. I'm really struggling between Cork, Jimmy Dunn, and Charlie Taylor as to who to give my man of the match. I just thought Jack Cork today was really brought his experience to the game. I thought since we were looking so off it, he was looking on it, and that tends to be what happens whenever we're off it. He sort of, puts the accelerator on and does a bit of something else. His passing was excellent for the large majority of the game, and he was the one making things happen from that centre midfield role. He was all over the place, and not in a bad way. He was all over the pitch. He was doing jobs everywhere, and I just wish he could do that on a game to game basis, and not when we need him to. But I think that's why I am going to give Jack Cork my man of the match, because I thought if anyone took on the game today, it was Jack Cork. Wasn't really helped by everyone's lack of quality, but he really took on the game today and showed his bit of quality, whereas no one else really did. I didn't find. So yeah, Jack Cork's my man of the match, primarily just because he didn't have a bad game. He just had a good game compared to everyone else. Right midfield, Goodmanson. First half, I thought he looked really good. He was looking lively. He was touching the ball quite a lot. He was on the ball. He was wanting the ball, and he looked quite threatening, really. First half, and then second half, he kind of just dropped off until a little bit later in the game, where he started to pick it up and press a bit better. So yeah, that's probably the best I've seen Goodmanson play in quite a while. Well, I'd probably say that's the best I've seen Goodmanson play since the Crystal Palace game. Which, it's fine, but he still didn't really play well. If you want to have a good game, you need to be consistent for the full 90, not just for pockets of the game. Especially as a winger. I think when you're a winger, it becomes a lot more apparent when you're not playing well, because especially in a team like Burnley where crosses are essential and that's the main way we get goals. When you're a winger and things aren't quite working in a setup like this, it is very obvious that you're not quite on it. But when he was on it, I thought we were fine. I thought, and generally, I thought as a whole team, I thought when Goodmanson was on it down the right hand side, we looked better. So yeah, if you can have a bit of consistency, great. But that's fine. Josh Brownhill obviously brought off in the 45th minute. I thought that was absolutely the right call. I think he was very, very wasteful today. The amount of times I saw him pick up the ball and have a poor touch or try to pass it, and it went to anyone other than a Burnley man. He didn't look very composed. I thought today, in terms of that behind the striker role today, he just looked very unconfident. I still want to know the word for not confident. He didn't look very confident, I should just say. And he just didn't seem on it at all. And he just wasn't very composed. And that's the sort of thing you need for a man playing behind a striker. Just being composed is the one thing. If anything, that's the one thing you need, and he just didn't have it at all. And that's just, it's disappointing because he has played well in that role, but today just, I thought it was right to bring him off because he was having a poor game. Well, I'd probably argue he had a very, very, very poor game. He would have been better off in right midfield and Goodmanson playing there, to be honest, because then at least he'd just disappear and Goodmanson might do anything. I don't know. And Chris Wood again had such a quiet game, if not for himself, due to just the lack of anything happening for him. He's a poacher. He gets goals with chances. He doesn't create chances. He doesn't make things happen. That's just how Chris Wood plays. And when nothing's happening, he can't do anything. And I don't think that's entirely his fault. Though I do think when no one else is taking the game on, maybe it's time for you to push it a little bit more. Maybe it's time for you to drop a little bit more deep. Maybe it's time for you to take on the midfield role and try to sort of elevate your team. I can't say anything against Wood, just solely because of the fact that he didn't really do anything wrong, since he didn't have anything to do in the first place. He obviously had a couple chances to score. I think one of them was offside. We ended up getting a corner for it, but it was offside. It would never have counted. And I feel like there was another chance that we had, but I can't remember. In terms of substitutions, it was our first sub. Our first sub was Vidra. Unlike Vidra, I didn't think he did anything at all. I mean, in fact, you know what? I'm just gonna talk about all of our substitutions as one, because none of them did a single thing of worth at all, and that's very poor. When you bring on three attacking substitutions, by the way, and they're not doing anything, there's a problem. Especially when we were essentially playing a 4-2-4 with just four attackers, two midfielders, and a forward at back. Nothing happened, and maybe that's just because we were far too top heavy, and we were forcing things to happen too much. Perhaps that's it. I'm not sure. I know that's my job to know these things, but I just don't know them. Yeah, the one thing I will say, I don't think Ashley Barnes should have played at all today, just because of obviously what's come out recently about him with the drink driving after the Fulham game. He should absolutely not have played a single minute this season after that had been found out. I don't think, because that's poor, and to me that's poor from the disciplinarians of Burnley, in that he's done that. They've come out and released a statement saying he will be disciplined. This is not something we accept. And then literally the day after, and it's raining a small bit. Literally just the day after this has come out, they play him. I know they played him for only about 5 or 6 minutes, but you shouldn't be playing him. Not after something like that. He has to be disciplined. And I know that might sound a bit unfair. I say just because it's a drink driving thing. Obviously, drink driving is not as bad as something like paedophilia, like Adam Johnson. It's still a bad thing, and still needs to be disciplined. Especially since he only had 4 games left of the season that he could possibly play. Shouldn't have played a single second after we'd found out that had happened. And yeah, I'm just a bit disappointed with the disciplinarians at Burnley, to be honest. And I suppose in particular Dyche, because he's the one who's chosen to bring him on, and I just do think that was the wrong decision overall. Listen, I love Barnes, and I probably love Barnes more than the majority of Burnley fans. Just because of who he is, because of how he is, because of how long he's been with us. He's a loyal player to the club. But you can love something dearly and still have to discipline him. That's just the way I see it. But anyway, that's the end of this video. Overall, very poor season, I think. Very poor season that just wasn't helped by a single player. And I think, you know what? Let me just talk about it. Let's talk about player of the season, right? I think you'll struggle to look at anyone other than Chris Wood, to be totally honest. I don't think anyone at all has taken this season on quite like Chris Wood has. If Chris Wood doesn't go on that amazing run of like 8 goals, we're relegated. I think we're relegated. He's the reason we've stayed up, I think, and that's just that's quite as simple as it is. But yeah, I think with the transfer window opening soon, we're gonna have to really look at shuffling this team. Get rid of the deadwood. We got a lot of deadwood that we're just not using. And even if we do use them, they're not going to be any good. Like I'm looking at your Robbie Brady's. I'm sure Kevin Long's only stayed here for 10 years because he wants that magical 10-year award or whatever. He wants to be held in high esteem by Burnley fans and Burnley players. Who else? Robbie Brady, Kevin Long, freaking Phil Bardsley. I think he's got to go soon at some point. Eric Peters, is he good? Eric Peters is still good. Eric Peters is certainly still good when Charlie Taylor can't play. We do need to keep Eric because he's a talent. There's no doubt in that. I mean, you're talking Dale Stevens. He's been with us for a year and he's played about 10 minutes. We have to get rid of him because he's just filling a space that can't be filled because he's old. Because as horrible as it sounds, because he's old, he's going to be injury prone, and he's never ever going to make a difference off the bench ever. So we don't need him. Get rid of him. Just get rid of the majority of our players, man. And we just have to go for a big haul, don't we? We should have gone for a big old haul. I know he won, but honestly, looking at it right now, the only possible way I can see us staying up next season is if we just spend loads of money, and we're not going to. So I think we're going down. I think that experience and that know-how, it's gone. And I think we've been lucky this season to stay up because there just happens to have been 3 teams below us who have been absolutely appalling. That's all it is to say. And one of those 3 teams at the bottom who have been absolutely appalling have ended up beating us 1-0 today. So anyway, come on, you Clarets. I'll see you next season. Thank you for watching all these videos. It's been fun for the most part. Just being able to vent my thoughts and fill a bit of a gap, I think, for Burnley fans. I don't feel like there's much talk like this really for many Burnley fans. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you've been enjoying them since, I think, the Man City game where we lost 2-0. So yeah, thanks very much, and I'll see you next season. If you want any more videos throughout the summer period, do slap them in the comments. I don't know, it can be anything. I'm not really too bothered. But yeah, thanks very much, and I'll see you next season. Thank you.